Come, let us break free and understand violent, intrusive thoughts. Let's see how to spell disciplinary. Disciplinary. There we go. You gotta take a multidisciplinary approach. You gotta work with a doctor, you gotta work with a psychiatrist, you gotta work with a good psychologist. Beware of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. It is the bastard child of the rational emotive approach. It was concocted by insurance companies who don't give a rat's ass about mental health. They just want to find the cheapest solutions as possible without being in breach of contract. So CBT was designed by insurance companies to offer an analog of therapy, something that could create the illusion of mental health. Consider this, if you will. It is not uncommon, for example, for people to present with generalized anxiety disorder, submit enthusiastically to cognitive behavioral therapy, and then after 6 months of hard work, still have generalized anxiety disorder, but also present with clinical depression. Why is that? I'd like to answer that question. Jay, my friend, you are utterly welcome to you. I send a great big hug to you and Kevin, and let's see, the two cats. One is named Rue, and the other reminds me of Bennington Bear, but that's not his name. What's the other one's name? Anyway, beware of CBT. I'm going to illustrate you its shortcomings in the following, what's it called? Visual aid. That's what the kids these days call it. When we try to use the brain to fight the brain, we exhaust the brain, specifically the prefrontal cortex, and hobble the brain by triggering our amygdala, which is the seat of anxiety and aggression. If you are presenting with violent, intrusive thoughts, the last thing you need is more fatigue, more anxiety, and more aggression. Those things, if you're Superman, those things are your kryptonite. But don't worry, neuroscience has your back. If you, like many people, like me, are no stranger to violent, intrusive thoughts, then your best friend is your autonomic nervous system. Your autonomic nervous system has two parts. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access the sympathetic nervous system found in the middle third of our spinal cord, which is wired to help us to notice in a very special way. It's wired to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. This, my friends, is the opposite of, I gotta get centered here or I will lose my mind. This is the opposite of concentration. This is the opposite of concentrating on your breath. This is the opposite of contriving a visualization with the intention of combating your violent intrusive thought. This is just noticing your violent intrusive thought. But how do we do that? Simple. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we actually interrupt our neocortexes. It interrupts the habit of our neocortex competing against our sympathetic nervous system. And in that gap, allow these two to cooperate. But wait, there's more. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation. Thank you, Kevin. Teddy Rixman, how could I forget? And greetings and salutations to you and Charlotte's Web right behind you. So each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, two things are going on. Let's start from scratch. During our exhalation, whether we know it, we are already wired to effortlessly and automatically access the parasympathetic nervous system divided by between the lower third and the upper third of our spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system is wired to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. Let's explore this from a deeper level. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we interrupt the pattern of our cerebral cortex competing against our parasympathetic nervous system. And in that gap, these two kids can cooperate. They can play nice together. And as such, we could find ourselves releasing what it is we noticed during our previous inhalation, even if that which we noticed was a violent intrusive thought. And at least for a moment, fleetingly, that violent intrusive thought can feel less compelling, less defining, and even less permanent, giving us a chance to effortlessly experience the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the right view of literal impermanence that supports our release. There are many meditation teachers, terrible meditation teachers, who would say that when you feel yourself having a violent intrusive thought, turn away from it and concentrate on your breathing. No, don't do that. Concentrating on your breathing will exhaust your prefrontal cortex and trigger your amygdala. You don't want that. Now, let's take a deeper dive into this whole subject of violent intrusive thoughts. So, our body and brain can only handle so much. If we aren't meeting our body's needs effectively, there's going to be problems. If we are driving a car and we don't change the oil, we don't make sure there's enough oil in the car, and we don't change it regularly, and we don't change our oil filter, you're going to do what I did as a young man and destroy your engine block. So, in my life, as someone who is neurodivergent, as someone who is a 14-karat neurodivergent, which means I have both autism and ADHD and all the comorbidities, including CPTSD, I can what's the word? It's like clockwork. If I push my body and brain too hard, I begin tremoring and I start having violent intrusive thoughts. That's my body. And I use that as a signal to say, hey, it's time to stop what I'm doing. Go grab an apple, go to the bedroom, and watch videos of cats. Throw the apple core away, wash my hands and face, and then lie down for 10 or 15 minutes. Give my body a chance to self-regulate. Personally, I've had a very, very difficult 10 days. Just pushing my body and brain too hard. Um, and I have to respect my limitations. I'm not unique. I'm not that special, though I wish I was. All of us have our limitations. We all have lines in the sand. They might not be the same line. They might not be in the same place. They might not even be in the same place on the same day. But our body has crafty ways of showing us that its needs are not being met. I want to explore something else for a second. Yes, an exceptional therapist could be helpful, but they are not a panacea. One of my medical heroes, Dr. Michael Greger, MD, presented a video on YouTube where he found that it's centered on depression, but the results are applicable. Come, reason with me. Typical, stereotypical symptoms of depression can be things like a loss of interests in one's hobbies, a loss of interests in using one's talent, perhaps even a loss of interest in sex. Um, but it turns out those are also the psychological symptoms of having the flu or having a really bad cold. And so it was hypothesized that perhaps the symptoms of depression are actually symptoms of systemic inflammation. And so an experiment was done, and they took people who had the blood markers for inflammation, and they treated them for systemic inflammation. Within a week, not only did they reverse the markers of systemic inflammation, they reversed the symptoms of depression without taking any psychotropics, without any talk therapy, without ever trying to resolve the gross injustices of their past. And so it seems that often psychological problems are not psychological problems, they're psychological symptoms of physiological problems. Bear with me, check this out. Trauma alters physiology. It's not because we are unspiritual. It's not because we're stupid. It's not because we have failed to forgive those who berated us or beat us or raped us. Trauma alters the body. It alters the body's experience. It alters the body's needs. And if we don't meet our body's needs, we can journal and talk and pray until we are blue in the face, and we're still going to be miserable. We cannot ignore our body's needs. I know what it's like to be young and dumb. I'm sure you do. You're probably much smarter than me, but I know exactly what it's like to be young and dumb and say, meditation's so awesome, I won't have to sleep anymore. Really? What's next? You won't have to pee anymore? You won't have to poop anymore? You won't have to drink water anymore? You won't have to eat food anymore? You won't have to breathe anymore? Well, larky. We have physiological needs. And our mind lives in our brain, and our brain lives in our body. And if we don't take care of those needs, we are not going to be happy campers. So I do not say this to minimize the plight, the peril of violent, intrusive thoughts, but to reframe them as your body's dramatic engine indicator light on the dashboard of your mind. Does this mean your body's deliberately trying to fuck with you? No. But they do correlate compellingly. So as one with a horrific past and a fucked up body, and when I say fucked up body, I don't mean in the fun tingly way. The only way I have survived the three-ring shit show that is my body and life is by respecting my body's needs. What's that? You want to say you want to prevent a psychotic break? Respect the needs of your body and your brain. What's that? You want to sidestep anxiety? Respect the needs of your body and brain. What's that? You want to sidestep depression? Fabulous. Respect the needs of your body and brain. Now, none of us is an expert in everything. A neuroscientist still might need to see a rheumatologist. A rheumatologist still might need to see a neuroscientist. Avail yourself of whatever pertinent expertise you can get your grubby little hands on. So if you can find a good MD, if you can find a good psychiatrist, if you can find a good psychologist, if you can find a good meditation teacher, then ruthlessly glom onto them and demand they help you like a hungry remora on the underbelly of a great white shark, just suckling away, because it's their job to meet your needs. If you want to be an asset to your partner, to your children, to your pets, to your friends, neighbors, and family, no less co-workers, be ruthless and wise in your pursuit of mental health. That concludes our opening lesson. What I'd like to do now is shift gears. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become the nerdy, neurodivergent guide. I'm sorry, I forgot a preposition. So that I could become your nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So tonight we're going to take a really easy, gentle approach. We're not going to be doing squat thrusts or cartwheels. We're not going to be chanting and mantras or contemplations. We're going to be super, super mellow. One moment, my nose is not being mellow. My nose did not get the group chat. That's right. Few things are as perilous as a big-nosed Jew with congestion. So, let's hit it. Nothing to it but to do it. Let's see here. What I'd like to do right now is hit Control 3. Please, oopsie, wrong button. My goodness. Okay, here we go. Please chant with me. Whatever comes, may all beings let it come. Whatever stays, may all beings let it stay. Whatever goes, may all beings let it go. Welcome to the first of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Let's see, let's go over here. So let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. What is the essence of mindfulness? Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception. Sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. Now let us explore the essence of meditation. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release what it is that we noticed during our previous inhalation. Together, let us practice right now. Please chat with me. This is the 7th verse of Prahevajra's vast expanse of the diamond-like mind. Meditation is relaxing without seeking in the dharmata that does not appear visibly. If one actively searches either for the dharmata or for something in it, the natural condition will never manifest. Let's go over here. Hit this button. And let's hit this button. See if that doesn't work better. Okay. I'm having some trouble here. My goodness. Okay. So I'm going to tap button 9 and bring us hopefully back. Wait a second. That was, wrong button again. Let's get back over here. That works better. And of course the display, oh, that's interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. We can notice the external or the internal, the physical or the mental, the pleasurable or the painful. We can notice the interesting or the boring, the glorious or the grotesque. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are similarly wired to physically relax and mentally release whatever it is that we noticed during our previous inhalation. Come together as a team. Let us practice. Please chant with me. Meditation is relaxing without seeking in the dharmata that does not appear visibly. If one actively searches either for the dharmata or something in it. Oopsie, what's going on here? This isn't going right. Okay, here we go. The natural condition will never manifest. So, in other words, my friends, it is better to be like the dude than the Big Lebowski. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Each time we turn our attention now to the essence of mindfulness and the essence of meditation. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Meditation is relaxing without sinking in the dharmata that does not appear visibly. If one actively searches either for the dharmata or for something in it, the natural condition will never manifest. Let us rest all 5 knuckles of our right hand upon the tips of the corresponding fingers of our left hand, palms up in our lap. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, philosophy, or meditation, simply type your question and do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Until then, let us silently and mentally practice the essence of mindfulness and meditation. This is this evening's final recitation of this passage. So if you have any questions, now is the time to type those questions. Meditation is relaxing without seeking in the dharmata that does not appear visibly. So each time we inhale, we notice. But in what manner do we notice? Vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. We exercise the courage to notice whatever comes up, whether it is a sight, a sound, a sensation, a flavor, a scent, an emotion, an intention, a thought, a memory, or an imagining. Whatever comes up, be it external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. I don't know about you. You're probably much more courageous than I was as a child. As a child, I had both a ghoulish, morbid curiosity to watch every monster movie they showed on Saturday afternoon television, but a simultaneous terror that the monster would come out through the TV and get me. So me and my sister would sit on the couch, and we would both hide behind her mother, so the monster could get her first, because we were good children. So, do we have the courage to notice whatever comes up? Be it glorious or grotesque or interesting or boring. Do we have the self-control to only label it this? Meditation is simple. During our exhalation, we let our body relax, we let our mind release. That does not mean we are pseudo-spiritually shoving something away. We're just releasing our resistance to the present moment. We are letting come whatever comes. We are letting stay whatever stays. We are letting go whatever goes. Together. If one actively searches either for the dharmata or for something in this, the natural condition will never manifest. I enjoyed the movie The Big Lebowski. What a wonderful character study between the dude and the Big Lebowski. The Big Lebowski had a lot of money. The dude did not. The Big Lebowski was miserable. The dude was relatively content and happy and groovy. Be like the Big Lebowski. I'm going to tap button 9. Please rest the great knuckle at the base of your right index finger upon the tip of your left index finger, palms up in your lap. We come to this evening's final practice of the essence of mindfulness and meditation. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in the chat window. Please seal this evening's practice with me by chanting. Whatever comes, may all beings let it come. Whatever stays, may all beings let it stay. Whatever goes, may all beings let it go. My friends, you have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 13 hours, or 12 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to the tomorrow morning's meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.